welcome to Tess Talks Entirely Too Much, where I, your host Tess, will talk entirely too much. This is Frank. Frank is my emotional support co host. He is here just to make sure that I don't completely go off my rocker. And if you stick around for a while, you'll see that I probably need someone to make sure that I don't completely go off my rocker. So, this is the very first episode of Tess Talks Entirely Too Much. And you're probably wondering, why is this girl showing up on my feed? Who is she? And why am I so oddly intrigued? I have answers for all of those questions, plus many, many more. I promise. There's plenty more questions and plenty more answers to come. But I will start out with the basics. Like I said, my name is Tess. I am 34 years old. I was born and raised in southern Middle Tennessee, kind of right in the heart of the Bible Belt of the South. So keep that in mind because that's going to come up in a future episode. I'm married to my husband of almost 10 years, and we have 3 beautiful fur babies. All of my children have 4 legs and tails, and that's the way I like it. No babies, please. I am a very creative person. I love all forms of art, music, dance, drawing, painting, writing, poetry. Did I say music? Because music is like top tier. I love books. I love reading. I love stories. I love creating digitally, like through podcasts and videos. I love doing Instagram videos. I am not very talented at drawing or painting, but one of my favorite things in the world to do is 3D pin art. So if you take a look at the wall behind us, you will see that it's covered with all kinds of things. And at some point, I will give like a whole like close up of all of my artwork. But everything that's on my office walls, I made sitting there in that chair back there. I will sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and I will 3D pin and then I hand paint everything. I do custom pieces for people who are interested. Um, but for me, myself, and I like the more kind of creepy stuff, the more macabre stuff. I love human hearts, brains, skeletons, eyeballs, especially bloody eyeballs. But there's a story behind the bloody eyeballs. So remember that because it's going to come up in a later episode. I call myself a red pill goth. If you Google what red pill goth is, that is not how that's not how I the identification that I perceive or that I align myself with the red pill goth. I say that because I am a goth. I'm not. I don't want to talk about politics on the show, so we're going to leave politics out of it. But I am anti-political as a whole. So there's like this narrative around being like in the golf subculture that you have to be with a certain political party uh, in order to be goth, and I don't believe that. I believe that being goth is rooted in so much more than politics, because goth was never about politics to begin with. It all started with music, and it developed into its whole like subculture because of the music. So, but that's a whole different episode. But yes, I do consider myself a red pill goth. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I have diabetic eye disease. Will be doing an episode about what it's like being a type 1 diabetic and living with diabetic eye disease and being sometimes blind. I, let's see here. I am a huge coffee drinker, but first, coffee. Coffee is the one thing in life that has never let me down, unless it's been decaf, but we don't talk about Bruno. I just really love all of the odd things about life. I believe that life is a scale of gray. I don't believe that anything is black and white. I think that there's so many different shades of gray to every situation. And while, yes, there are some things that are truly just right and wrong, it really just depends on the situation in which you're in that defines what is right and wrong. Um, I love the term morally gray. I know there's a book called Morally Gray. I have not read the book Morally Gray, but I think that I fit into that morally gray area where, I don't think that in some situations some things are as bad as they seem. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm very anti-political, do not do politics whatsoever. I do align myself as a non-denominational Christian. I'm going to do like a whole episode on my faith and kind of how it plays into me being goth, or should I say how it doesn't play into me being goth, because I get so many people who ask me, like, how are you a Christian and a goth, or how are you a goth and a Christian? But just to kind of summarize like my beliefs, because I've had several people ask me what non-denominational means. For me, I don't believe that any one particular denomination is the right denomination. I think that there are too many denominations, and man has taken what they wanted from the Bible and put it into what they think that the church should look like, which has built up thousands of churches who don't even actually follow the Bible. So I don't care if it's a like Pentecostal church, Baptist, Methodist, Catholic. I don't know if Judaism is part of Christianity. I don't think that it is, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, there's, but my point is that I don't think that any one denomination is right. If you go into a church and your spirit is getting fed, that's all that matters. And if you are like going alongside with what scripture says and what the Bible says, um, I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. I don't think that hell is, a fiery lake of, eternal burning. I don't know what I think it is, but I don't think that it's that. And that's been a new, like, kind of a new revelation in my life, I guess. I don't really know. With that being said, I also identify myself as bisexual. I didn't realize that until I was in my 30s. And it's not something that anybody knows. So, surprise to anyone who watches this. Yeah. Anyways, I, yeah, that's, I'm gonna get a lot of feedback on that one. Okay. Anyways, moving on. I have a lot of mental health problems. And you're probably sitting there thinking, obviously, like you just said that you're a goth, a Christian, and bisexual. You've got all the mental health problems, Tess. Well, to let's not take it that far, okay? Because I have more to say. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're a Christian or an atheist or a Buddhist or a Muslim, or, you worship like the cat that, hangs out at the dumpster behind Walgreens. I really don't care. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I don't care if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're bi, if you're, pan or trans or whatever. I don't care. I, I, I don't care. You could be attracted to lampshades. I don't give a shit. Okay. Oh, and I also cuss. So fair warning. Yeah, I don't care. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We breathe the same air. We look at the same sky. We walk on the same ground. We go through life. Each one of us has struggles. Each one of us has shit that we go through. Um, each one of us has victories. Each one of us celebrates things. Each one of us has likes and dislikes and beliefs and values. And I, I, I don't care. And with the way that I believe that the church has gotten it wrong so many times. And if I do one thing good in this world, I want to show people that there are real, actual Christians out there that love people for who they are. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. It doesn't matter. I am going to love you. I'm going to be nice to you. I am going to respect you. I may not agree with you, but I'm going to respect you. And all that I ask is that you respect me in return, even if we disagree. We can have conversations. I'm open to conversations. I'm not going to fight anyone. I am not going to debate, but I will have genuine, like, conversations with people. I have questions that I want to ask people. I know that there's going to be people who want to ask me questions. So let's talk about it. Let's have conversations about it. You know, my Instagram inbox is open. You're welcome to message me and we will discuss whatever it is, just as long as we do it in a respectful adult manner. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to have petty conversations. I'm not going to do that. But I will talk to you and I will have an actual conversation with you. So, moving on from that, like I said, I have a lot of mental health. I have PTSD, which is probably actually CPTSD, which is complex uh, post traumatic stress syndrome. I grew up with a narcissistic asshole father, and that is something that I was told to keep quiet about, to not talk about, to, just sweep it under the rug. He also struggled with addiction. He was an alcoholic, and for a short while, he was drinking and also taking pills, and that was something that I had to deal with. That's something that I had to live through. Um, but aside from the addiction, like just him being a narcissist, that left me with a lot of scars, a lot of damage from very, very young in my childhood. Um, I have an amazing mother. I love my mother. She is phenomenal. She's not perfect by any means. No person is. But everything that she ever did for her kids, she did it with her kids in mind. And even if it was the wrong decision, like, everything that she did was for the best for her kids. And I don't fault her for that. I don't judge her for that. I don't hold that against her. So I have a very close relationship with my mom and my stepdad, and I do not have a relationship whatsoever with my biological father. We have been no contact now for going on 3 years, and I have no intentions of changing that, unless if I see some sort of actual behavioral change coming from him. And even then, it would take a lot to get me to actually want to have a relationship with him. So that's something that we're going to talk a lot about, is the mental health side of things on this show. We are going to be talking about the PTSD and healing and what that's been like. The next episode after this is actually going to be my PTSD story. So that one's Like, for an average person, it's going to seem like, how in the world did that give you PTSD? But there's so many layers to it, and it it was just kind of like this the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess you could say. Um, so we're going to talk about that. I just want to I want this to be a place where people can feel seen and feel heard and feel validated and not feel like they're alone. Because after my PTSD diagnosis, I felt so alone. I felt so isolated. I felt like nobody could ever understand what I was going through or what I was feeling or anything. And then I heard a song. And when I heard this song, I literally said out loud, how in the world did this artist get inside of my head and write these words that literally describe my entire life for the past, 6, 8, 9 months, however long it had been. Um, and it shook me to my core. And it was music that helped pull me out of the like depths of my PTSD. And that's why music is so important to me, is because it is such a powerful thing. It is such a powerful thing. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I listen to a lot of screamo, heavy metal, heavy rock. That is pretty much all that my playlist is I call it my scary screamy music. That's the best way I can describe it. Music, I mean, it literally saved my life. And it's what has brought me what's brought me to where I am today, with the help of, of course, like doctors and consistently going to therapy and medications and everything. So it is, it's a combination of things. I'm a very huge advocate for modern medicine and everything. I am a huge advocate for mental health medications. I think that mental health medications should not in any way, shape, or form be a taboo thing. I think that, if you need medications for your mental health, like, there's no difference in that than taking an antibiotic whenever you have, strep throat or, kidney infection or something like that. And just like I take insulin for my diabetes, to keep me alive, I take pretty high doses of antidepressants to, keep me alive. So that's a really, really, really important thing for me. I probably won't do like a whole episode about, mental health medications, but it is going to be something that does get talked about throughout different episodes and everything. So yeah, that's just kind of a breakdown, a very like broad breakdown of what this show is going to look like and everything. And just kind of like a few little side notes. The scenery is probably going to change. Um, and you are going to see the fur babies, fur monsters, as I like to call them. You're going to see them running around. You're probably going to hear them bark. You're going to hear the cat lose his shit over the stray cats that are outside. I will try to edit out as much as I can, but I know that I won't be able to edit everything out. The lighting is going to be different at different times. Bear with me. I've never done a video podcast before. Whenever I did Blind Crime, I can't remember if I said that before, but I did Blind Crime. It's still available. Still be able to find it on all streaming platforms if you want to go check it out. And yeah, it was just strictly audio. So I'm still working on like my lighting and everything and making sure that we're like trying to get like good lighting, good audio. I hope that the audio on this sounds decent. My voice is very weak tonight. I had therapy today, and then I came home and cried for about 3 hours, and then made several, or tried to make several videos, only posted a few to Instagram. So yeah. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, I will be doing a lot of like behind the scenes stuff over there. And it's just kind of a place where I, process out loud. I do a lot of 3D pinning videos that I post. So I'll do like time lapse videos of me doing different 3D pieces and doing like the painting process and everything. So I'll post those quite frequently, and then I'll just, kind of think out loud. But yeah, thank you guys so much for just watching this introduction. I know that it's, kind of weird. There's not just, I know most podcasts have just like a single topic. This one's not. It's just going to be a whole bunch of different shit. And, it's probably going to be a little bit different. But I think that all in all, it has potential to be something good. So I hope that it catches your attention. I hope that you stick around and continue to watch it as each episode comes out. And yeah, I hope that I hope you like it. So that is all that I have for this. I will be back next week with my PTSD story. So I will see you guys then. Thank you for watching.